Okay, is I kind of combined the first two, and that's why I was kind of stuck. Okay, the first one is the dean. Okay, it has to be like completely righteous to the law and no meat on a diet. Number two is comfortable, financially comfortable. Okay, and number three is your connections, your family is extremely important because if I'm attaching my life to yours, I'm going to be your life companion. Then you have people in your life who I'm going to have to get along with. We have to be amicable. And if you have people in your life that don't like me, it's going to be a problem. So we have to make sure that I'm going to fit into your established unit of contacts. You know, how do they feel about me? How do I feel about them? Is this going to be a peaceful, addition to what you guys already have established? Am I going to fit in peacefully? And so that's all. That's the main things you need to check off your list. One, check his dean, his belief, his faith. Is he 100% to the law? And his diet. Number two, his financial situation. And for me, just be comfortable. I don't want to have to wait to buy anything. Okay, that's just me. Some people might be okay with having to wait, but I'm like 54. I already got children, so I'm like cool. And that's another thing me and my son were talking about. It's kind of difficult in Islam because the concept of Tawheed applies to all Muslims. We're all Allah, and together we are one, but individually we're one also. So I'm Samadiyya, I'm self sufficient by myself. And you should be that too, you know what I mean? So it's like if everybody's like that, how are, what, let's, we gotta really, really, I don't know, to propagate our nation. It's like I'm cool, you cool, everybody cool, but I don't know. I'm not that young, but maybe the young people feel differently. But so um, comfortable. And number three, our um connections that we already have. We have established. I have people, you have people. When we combine, all of these people are going to come over for celebrations and events and things like that along our life's journey. We're going to have events where we invite these people together and we all have to get along in peace and unity, and we want to make sure that there's no problems with that before we decide to go further. We gotta check that off, and then once you check that off, you're pretty good. You have to, if you want to get deeper into a person's personality or whatever, but we're taught to keep our engagement short. So I feel like if you can be confident in those three things. The one is number one is the deen, your faith, your belief in Allah. That's number one, and I feel like if that's strong enough, you can pretty much get past the other two. But just to be on the safe side, because you want to be successful. And let me go ahead and touch on this too, because it's the episode of the Cosby Show where Claire is grilling Cliff. If I die, are you gonna get married again? And that shows that she wasn't clear when they took their vows, because traditional wedding vows, a lot of people aren't aware of this, but they say either as long as you both shall live, or until death do you part. Okay, so if she said, or if they said when they took their vows that they agreed to stay together or be married as long as they both shall live, then she wouldn't be asking that question. She already knows, because he vowed to be married to her as long as they both shall live. So as long as he lives, he's married, and as long as she lives, she's married. They're married to each other as long as they are alive. So both of them. But if you say the other one, until death do you part. So when they die, or when one of them dies, then they're parted. You know what I mean? The other one is as long as you live, married, and they both agree to that. So yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you can over explain things and it gets complicated when it's really simple. So I'm gonna stop right there. And this is long enough, but I'll probably address the other one. The other one was just some general advice as far as, like, my son and I were talking about this too. He noticed that a lot of sisters, and I think this is why, like, I'm single, because he said a lot of sisters will get with a brother, best of intentions, and he has the best of intentions, but after a while, the fire dies. She feels like she got all she could get out of him, she's through, like, spending his money, and physically she's not attracted to him anymore, and she just gets bored with him. So other people start looking attractive to her, and she's like, pick a fight or something, and whatever, it's over, I'm through with you, and just break up with them, and then on to the next guy. And it's a process that she keeps repeating. She gets infatuated with a brother and stays with him for a while, but eventually she gets bored, or bored. She loses interest in him and gets testy and irritable, and they fighting constantly, and she's just like, forget it, it's over. And then she moves on to somebody fresh, and that is a repeating process. And like me, I wasn't even aware that that's what was happening, but I got frustrated and joined the nation and just like I'm just gonna work on myself. And so after 20 years of being in the nation, my son and I were talking about he observed this in young girls since he's been in high school and he's only 23 and he's observed all these girls going through all these brothers just like that, just draining the poor brother. He's flattered because he's getting all this attention. They got this girl with him, and then all of a sudden, he's like drained physically and mentally, been spending all his money and time and investing in this female. And then he gets to the point where that's all I got. I ain't got no more. That's it. And then she's like, oh, okay, bye. Off to the next dude. And then he's like burnt out, feeling old, and, just ready to give up and all that. But the person who wrote this letter is like, how can we stay together when we get to that point? And in the movie Love Jones, he said, you have exhausted the possibilities. So, I was having this conversation with my daughter too, and I would say, every couple is different. You're not a couple anymore, you're really one unit. So you have to together go see a therapist. That's what I always say. And if you could find, like, my son hit me to this therapist couple. Both of them are therapists and they're married. They've been married for a long, long time. They got gray hair. She's postmenopausal. They've been together for a long time. So it looks like they've passed that hump, where it's like middle age. A lot of people get middle age and they grow apart, and it's really sad. But I feel like if you could just get past that middle age hump, then you set for the rest of your life. You're gonna be together. You already passed that hurdle. Then you can just go forward from there. But it's just getting past that hurdle that a lot of couples have difficulty with. So I would say seek a therapist, but like to she's like, we haven't even gotten there yet, and we want to try to, be prepared and prevent that from happening. So I say, it's always good to keep the fire going by doing something different. Go on a vacation together. Go back to the place where you met. Take a class together. Do some physical activities together. I personally like something that has an ending where you can have that sense of completion of doing something together. Like we did this, let's do something else. Some sort of, not really a challenge, but like a project that I think is really good. Obviously you're together, you have similar interests and common goals. So find something that you both are interested in, like build an electric vehicle or something like that, a solar powered vehicle. Some like really big project or something you can work on. I think that's like really romantic and uses your intelligence and not so much your emotions, but just like being friends, cultivate your friendship for life. And Malika Ali is a therapist, so I recommend Malika MALIKAHALI.com. Yeah, call her. And that's it. I'm gonna wrap it up. 15 minutes is long enough. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Stay up. Go ahead.